What is going on YouTube? And we are live, it looks like. So, hello everyone, all zero of you. Just kidding. Hopefully, some more people will come in. Um, yeah, my name is Logan McGinley. I run MCG Media, and today is Mental Health Monday, part 8. Today we were talking about mental health in movies and just kind of some thoughts and opinions on it, kind of just exploring that a little bit. If you have a comment and if you have an idea of how you ever you think this is, leave a comment down below. I'd like to see your ideas on my perspective. I would love to hear your perspective on everything and kind of go from there. But yeah, today we're just kind of talking about just movies and how mental health is depicted in them and if it's kind of beneficial or if it can be detrimental to the stigmatization of mental health. We see stigmatization all around. But before we get into it, let me just do my beginning spiel. I am not a professional by any means. I am currently studying to get my master's in clinical counseling, so I will be a professional in a year. No, not I won't be a professional. I'll have my master's within a year, but yeah, I'm not a professional, so take my word with a grain of salt. But I am working towards it. This is something that I think can definitely benefit a lot of people. Just bringing a conversation to the table about mental health. I think it could just be it's just a good conversation to have. I think a lot of people could benefit from it, and that's what I'm here to do. So that's what this live stream is all about. But yeah, thank you for tuning in if you are watching. But yeah, so just kind of continue on. Um, right off the bat, I have recently watched a really good movie lately that really depicted a very good. It was a very good depiction within the movie. It was Beautiful Boy, starring Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet. It follows Timothy Chalamet and his journey with substance use disorder and just a lot of different things, depression, anxiety. There's a lot of different aspects of it within the movie, and Steve Carell and Timothy play fantastic roles, and their acting is amazing. And I really think it's a good depiction of how both suffer differently but are both suffering at the same time, and like what it takes. Like a lot of people don't realize that um relapse is actually part of the recovery um, cycle, or um, yeah, just part of the recovery aspect of it. And a lot of people don't realize that, and I think they depict that beautifully because it does happen within the movie. It is very sad and heartbreaking at points. So if you do watch it, make sure you're in the right frame of mind too. But it is sad. It has some very happy moments as well. It's just really interesting to see kind of um, like how they depicted it. And after watching it, I actually looked into it a little bit more, and it actually was kind of based off a father and son who actually helped write it and kind of like direct it a little bit. So it was like kind of like what happened really like within their lives, and they did a really good job at like um, really setting the standard of like what it kind of entails and like what obviously it's different for everybody. It's not the same for everybody with substance use disorder or in that anything that has to do with substance use. But I think it depicted it very well, and I think that's one of the movies that can actually bring and shed light on mental health and certain aspects of it. But there are some also that do not. They kind of incorrectly demonize mental health in a way. They kind of take it and twist it to kind of align with the narrative of their movie script, and it can be kind of, I think it can be very detrimental, kind of off the top, like Joker. I know a lot of people really love the movie. From the parts that I see, he did a good job at acting, but in the movie, it seems that the Joker's really kind of using his mental illness kind of to justify his own violence. And I think that's just can kind of put a um, negative idea in people's minds that like people with mental illness like want to commit violence or like will try to justify it. And like I think that can kind of create a really like dangerous dynamic when it comes to like ideas of mental illness and like um what it can kind of create. And I think although a good movie, I think that the depiction of the Joker could be kind of detrimental and stigmatize mental health a little bit, just because, again, like I said, he used a lot of violence in it and used his mental illness to justify it, and that's just not true when it comes to mental health, um, or mental illnesses. Not all of them are violent, and it's just kind of, again, it's just pushing this dangerous dynamic onto the viewer. And even if you're not really thinking like that, I can kind of create a subconscious idea, um, so that when you are interacting with someone who may be mentally ill or you're talking about it, you may automatically think some of these symptoms and ideas pretty much based off a movie that isn't kind of correct when it comes to certain diagnoses and symptoms. Um, Another one, I wanted to talk about this one too, Split. Um, I've always been intrigued by dissociative identity disorder. And if I remember the movie correctly, I know that um, I feel like I remember it. What's his name? Kevin in the movie. He's like the main character, and he has like these 23 different identities. And I'm pretty sure um, they know of one another. They know of one another identities, and that's just incorrect. That is very. I think that's like almost. It's very rare when it happens. Like I don't think it's, or does it happen? I don't think it does. Um, if it does, I haven't read about it, but I've talked to my professors and like their and professionals in this when it comes to dissociative identity disorder, and the different personalities never know of one another. They're completely different people, and there's still like some um arguments in this field about dissociative identity disorder and like what it kind of entails. But from what we do know that they do not know of one another. And in the movie, they talk about one another, and that's just not something that happens. So that also kind of, again, gives kind of wrong information. If you saw the movie and you want to explain to someone about dissociative disorder, you can't really talk about the symptoms because the symptoms that they portrayed weren't correct. And not only that, but each one of those different identities in the movie was like cruel in a different way, whether it be psychological thing. Again, that just kind of creates this stigma around dissociative identity disorder with this movie that um, if you have multiple personalities or multiple identities, then you're gonna like some of them are gonna be negative or violent or like just awful, and like kind of creates this like, oh, mental illness, oh, dissociative identity disorder, that's not good, that's bad. And that again, that just kind of creates this dangerous dynamic to kind of get into. And I think that it can be problematic too, just because um it could just be problematic because you don't, like, they may have done some information, but again, Hollywood loves taking it to kind of the extreme because, and I get it in the aspect of they're trying to sell a movie and they're trying to like make a living, but I think kind of like at what cost? I feel like if it's further marginalizing a group of people or stigmatizing a group of people, I think if it's doing more harm than good, I think like you can bring to light a certain topic or scenario without having to Hollywoodize it and kind of make it more appealing to watch or more like attention grabbing. It's just, I think that's there's different ways that directors could use this. Like there are good movies that depict mental health too. Um, like I think Girl Interrupted is a very good movie when it depicts certain mental health disorders, whether it be sociopath with Angelina Jolie or drawing a complete blank on the main character. She is like depression, anxiety. Um, Winona Ryder. She also does a very good depiction of it. Obviously, it's a little dated, so some of the symptoms and stuff have kind of separated. And I think there's some disorders that they mention in there that have previously split off and become two different disorders. But they do a good job, and they don't kind of Hollywoodize it. Each They really show that the person who may have a disorder isn't isn't like really tied, but like how they act and their behavior is kind of more um, associated with their personality as opposed to the disorder, which I think is a good distinction between the two, because the mental illness, although it can create and um, make people behave a certain way, um, it's not always going to do that. It's not always going to make them behave a certain way. So it's dangerous to like overgeneralize mental health disorder or mental illness, um, and kind of push it aside with a certain behavior and connect it with that. Because, but like I said again, like in Girl Interrupted, like certain quirks or behaviors in that movie with people who have mental health disorders seem to they do a very good job at kind of splitting it and showing that it's more linked to their personality as opposed to the mental illness itself. Um, so again, they didn't really focus on Hollywoodizing the mental illness and really kind of glamoring it up in a way and making it like, oh, scary, or like, oh, very interesting. Like they did it in a way that it was present, but that wasn't like the main reason. It's still people just interacting with one another. And I think it was a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Um, I decided to go with movies this week because in our psychopathology class, we actually write a 10-page paper on it, and we do a presentation on a movie that depicts a mental illness and whether we agree with it, disagree with it, or thing. And mine was actually Girl Interrupted. So I was a huge fan of it, and I thought it was a good talking point. So I thought that this would be a good week kind of talk about, because it also has to do with just kind of everything that you guys might be seeing. So if you're watching, have you ever seen a movie that kind of made you question, oh, is this how this mental disorder might actually behave, or do you think it's just kind of like the Hollywood version of it? Um, yeah, like, I mean, I've seen movies too where their depiction of schizophrenia is really kind of scary, and it like really almost demonizes people with schizophrenia because it makes them it can some of the depictions are like they're seeing like monsters or scary monsters, and like they're like the devil or something, and it can just be again a fine line to walk, and it's a dangerous thing because there you may have met someone who has schizophrenia, and they may just be on medication that you wouldn't have been able to tell otherwise. I've worked with people with schizophrenia, and again, like it's completely different from what Hollywood really kind of depicts. And I think going into it, I had a certain stigmatization and idea because of the movies I've saw, and um, after kind of interacting with those with schizophrenia, I've come to like I was completely wrong in a lot of my ideas and thing, and I think that's a good wake up call for a lot of people to kind of. It was a good stepping stone to kind of be more self aware that we do take in a lot of media, we do take in a lot of information. We got to eat, and you got to take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt too. You can't just kind of accept stuff because I just accepted. Oh, yep, that sounds like schizophrenia of like the basic kind of psychology 101 class that I've taken, and just the basic understanding of it. But in reality, there's so many different factors now that like I've been in grad school and for clinical counseling and really kind of just dived into like all the symptoms and diagnostics of mental disorders and mental illnesses and what they all have to kind of what they kind of entail. And I think that's really important for everyone to kind of understand that, kind of pushing on that and kind of continuing on this idea of, oh, these movies are predicting or showing mental illness. That's got to be what it is every single time, and like that's just not the case when it comes to um this area. Oh, we have a comment, maybe off topic, but have you seen the theory of how each SpongeBob character represents a mental illness? I think I briefly came across like a video or something, but it had to do with like I think I do remember that. I can't even begin to go into what each one is. I think if I remember correctly, I think they tried calling Squidward like a narcissist. Um, and I think like the SpongeBob theory is like is interesting. Again, I can't tell you how truthful it is because I haven't really dived into that. I remember reading that like forever ago or seeing a video on it. I don't really remember, but I have seen that DJ and I thought it was interesting. Maybe like a very baseline aspect of it, obviously, because I don't think they would try to integrate too much mental illness into SpongeBob. But yeah, there could be some aspects of it that may have a little bit of truth that may kind of run parallel with the different ideas and symptoms of mental illness. But yeah, I don't really remember the theory. So that theory's too much in depth, so I can't really speak to that exactly, but I'll have to check that out. After this video, if you could find the link and leave it in the comments, I would like to go check that out and then I'll probably reach out to you and give you my perspective on that. But yeah, there's a lot of different stuff too that has to like that kind of runs along with like there's different like theories like regarding like shows and stuff that may have like ideas or certain aspects of mental health kind of ingrained in them. And again, as long as it's like a teaching moment, I think that it can be beneficial to like society and like but again, some of these movies I feel like could be have I seen Fight Club? I have not actually. That's one of the main that's like a huge a huge movie that like I know oh no. I know that's like a, a crazy movie. Um or like a very important movie that a lot of people have seen, but I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I don't know if you're just trolling me right now, if there's actually like mental illness in that movie or not. Um, but if comment what mental illness is in that movie? Because I mean, I don't really remember. I haven't seen it. I've seen like bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen it like in full. Um, but I have not, so I cannot talk to that. But I can look it up quickly. Mental illness. I know. People are gonna give me shit for not seeing Fight Club. Fight Club came right up. Not for real. You gotta check it out. You'll see once you peep. All right. Oh, okay. So yeah, so like I looked it up. I didn't go too much into detail, so I'll have to watch it and get back to you on that one, Devin. So thank you for commenting. But I did see dissociative identity disorder, and that is again a widely debated um, illness. I don't know. I mean, I think it's definitely an illness. I just know that there's a lot of people in this field who kind of like not negate it, but like debate it in the sense that like they don't know if it holds enough weight, but some people say that it does. Um, but there is a lot of like talk on that, and dissociative identity disorder has always been like one of the main disorders that has always intrigued me. So maybe when I become more like official and get my master's and stuff, I think I might even go like look into that and see if I can like look to practice therapies and stuff and help those with that because I would love to learn more about that. But yeah, I'll have to check that movie out and see if there's actually like an actual accurate depiction of. I'm gonna turn this light off. It's about dying. And see if it's a good accurate depiction of dissociative identity disorder or there's just like a lot of movies out there. I just again, I mean, like this live stream, you got to take everything kind of with a grain of salt. Um, and I think that this is a very important one because these movies and media reach so many people. It can just become kind of just like in the back of your head again it just kind of gets ingrained in your subconscious that if you're seeing a movie that has to do with schizophrenia and they're seeing demons all the time and stuff like that's just like what you're going to automatically think if you ever come in contact with someone schizophrenic or think just because it's going to be kind of in your subconscious and before you even know it and you start interacting with someone with schizophrenia it can be kind of detrimental to kind of your ideas and what you may think of it because there is a lot of different stuff that um, like talks about it and there's a lot of information out there too when it comes to different mental illnesses but I just know movies are a huge media outlet when it comes to those, and I think that's just kind of an important conversation to have. So if I'll check that out. Thank you, and thank you, DJ, for commenting that. I'll have to check that out as well. But I do have to see Fight Club. I know that's like a super big, important movie that a lot of people talk about and say as important. I know one. I think I heard that there's one with Shutter Island. Um, that's with Leonardo, I believe, and I think I've watched that, but I don't know. I don't remember enough to like know if it was like actually a good depiction of the mental health disorder. Which movie do you think best represents a mental illness? Um, Again, I mentioned previously early. I don't know if you were in here yet, DJ. I think Girl Interrupted. That's an older movie. Yeah, I've watched Shutter Island, and I remember I really liked the movie, but I can't speak. I watched it before all the information I have now, so like I can't speak to if it was like a good depiction of it or not. Like I know like it was very dramatic, and I do remember like it was like a very like, oh gotcha, but I don't remember if there's like an actual diagnosis in that movie. Um, oh, thanks 69 Mega for the comments. Um, yeah, fantastic movie. Yeah, I'm gonna report these people because I don't want these comments. Uh, and but yeah, DJ, back to your question. Girl Interrupted is I think a very good movie, and it depicts it very well. But if you want a more recent one, Girl Interrupted is a little old, and some of the diagnostics and or diagnoses and from then are a little different now. I would say Beautiful Boy. That's a fantastic movie that was released recently and it has Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet. I mentioned earlier in this live stream. I don't know if you were here yet, but it's a very good depiction of substance use disorder. And it's really it opened my eyes up to substance use disorder and what my previous thoughts on it were. It changed my perspective on it definitely. Um, so I think that would be a great one to start, because you really get to see both sides of like people being hurt and like the substance use on the person who actually has the disorder, the hurt and suffering that they go through, as well as the families. Um, and I mentioned before that a lot of people don't know that when it comes to recovery and um, relapse, obviously it's not something you kind of strive for, but relapse is a part of the recovery plan. It is, and it's a cycle, um, but it's an upward spiraling circle. So the more you learn, then each relapse is a different lesson learned and kind of um, something kind of going on. And I think that it's just really important in the movie because it's just really beautiful to see like the how much information is learned and stuff. So I would definitely say those. And yeah, Devin, I know Ellie loves that movie. It's a good movie. I mean, from when I watched, that's the one I wrote my paper on, and I'm pretty sure I got it like a 98. So that's a good movie, you know. But yeah, it was a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorites, and I think it depicts it very well. At least some of them in there, definitely. Um, and it's a good movie too. That's the thing too. So like I said, like some movies just Hollywoodize it, don't care about any repercussions that may stigmatize mental health and mental illness further. But like you can do it. Like you can have a fantastic, interesting movie um, that also depicts it properly. And like I just don't understand why directors just are able to kind of push through that. I get it; they want to sell, they want to make money, but again, I just think it can be detrimental and more stigmatizing for people's ideas of mental health and moving forward. And yeah, DJ, a lot of people don't know that, and I think that's really important to kind of that's something I learned with our substance abuse class or substance use class. Um, and another quick thing, we don't call it abuse anymore. We call it substance use disorder, not abuse. There's a negative connotation that comes with abuse. So um, just another little thing. I always struggle with that. I always say substance abuse, but I always catch myself and gotta fix that. But again, that's just what I grew up with and just trying to learn as much as I can. So um yeah, I mean, I hope you guys check those movies out. And if you really like them, I'll have to check your comments out. I'll have to check the SpongeBob Mental Illness and Fight Club. I'll definitely have to check those out. But thank you guys for commenting. Thanks you for interacting with me. That makes for just a better live stream in general. DJ, thank you for watching these all the time. You and Dev, I appreciate it. You guys are my biggest fans. But yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up um, movies depictions of mental health. I thank you for another good Mental Health Monday, guys. Thank you for watching, and again, just keep learning, keep protecting your mental health, and do your best to do whatever you want and be happy. GG's. Yeah, GG's, guys. But yeah, take care of your mental health. It's super important. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I do. So that's what these mental health Mondays are for. So yeah, I will catch you guys next Mental Health Monday. Make sure you subscribe, and because I got other videos that come out as well. So thank you for watching. I will catch you guys next week. See ya.